You're listening to Briargrave Radio, horror stories from the places the map forgot. I first noticed the shift on a Tuesday morning. I woke up, walked into the kitchen, and stopped mid-step. The refrigerator was on the wrong wall. Not dramatically wrong, just slightly off, a few feet to the left. Close enough that I questioned my memory. Far enough that something inside me tightened. I stood there for a long moment, staring at it, trying to remember if I'd moved it. I hadn't. The next change happened that night. I would have remembered that. But the longer I looked, the more uncertain I felt. Maybe it had always been there. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was losing track of things. I made coffee and tried to ignore the unease crawling up my spine. But the world wasn't done shifting. I was brushing my teeth when I noticed the mirror. My reflection was brushing its teeth too. Same movements, same timing. But the background behind it was wrong. In the reflection, the bathroom door was open. In reality, it was closed. I froze, toothbrush halfway to my mouth. My reflection froze too, but the door behind it stayed open. A dark hallway stretched beyond it, a hallway that didn't exist in my apartment. I turned around. The door was still closed. When I looked back at the mirror, the hallway was gone. Just my reflection. Just my bathroom. I spat out the toothpaste and left the room without turning off the light. Over the next few days, the changes grew bolder. My bedroom door was slightly narrower. The hallway felt longer. The living room window was an inch higher than before. Small things, subtle things, things I could almost explain away. But the explanations felt thin, like excuses I was telling myself to avoid the truth. The world was rearranging itself, and it wasn't random. It felt intentional. The dreams started around the same time. I'd find myself standing in a long, empty corridor. Not the same one from the liminal story you and I crafted earlier, but something stranger. The walls were smooth and pale, like polished bone. The ceiling was too low. The floor sloped gently downward, as if leading somewhere deep beneath the world. I always walked forward. I never questioned it. At the end of the corridor was a door. Plain, wooden, unremarkable. But the moment I touched the handle, I woke up. Every night, the same dream. Every night, the same door. And every morning, something in my apartment had shifted again. One night, I woke up standing in the hallway, not dreaming, not sleepwalking, awake. The apartment was dark, but not silent. I heard a faint sound, a soft, rhythmic tapping, like someone drumming their fingers on a table. The sound was coming from the living room. I walked toward it slowly, each step feeling heavier than the last. When I reached the living room, I froze. The furniture was wrong. The couch was facing the opposite direction. The coffee table was missing. The lamp was on the floor, unplugged. It looked like someone had rearranged the room in the dark. The tapping continued. I turned toward the sound. It was coming from the wall, not inside the wall, not behind it, from the surface. As if someone on the other side was tapping their fingers against the paint. I stepped closer. The tapping stopped. Silence. Then a whisper, so faint I almost thought I imagined it. Not yet. I stumbled backward, heart pounding. The whisper wasn't threatening. It wasn't angry. It sounded patient, like someone waiting for me to understand something. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, the apartment was normal again. The couch was back in place. The coffee table was where it belonged. The lamp was upright and plugged in, but the wall where I'd heard the tapping had changed. It was slightly curved, barely noticeable, just a subtle bulge, like the wall was breathing. I touched it, warm. I pulled my hand back immediately. The wall pulsed once, like a heartbeat. I left the apartment and didn't return until after sunset. The changes accelerated. Doors appeared where there hadn't been doors. Corners sharpened or softened overnight. The ceiling in the hallway rose by several inches. One morning, I found a new room, a small, windowless space between the bedroom and the bathroom. It hadn't been there the day before. I would have noticed. Inside was a single chair, plain, wooden, facing the wall. I closed the door and didn't open it again. But that night, the door was open. The chair was turned toward the hallway, waiting. I tried to leave the apartment. I packed a bag, grabbed my keys, and walked to the front door. But when I opened it, the hallway outside was wrong. It was longer, much longer. The lights flickered softly, casting long shadows across the floor. The air felt warm and stale, like a building with no ventilation. I stepped into the hallway cautiously. The door closed behind me. When I turned around, the door was gone. Just a blank wall. I ran. The hallway stretched on endlessly, turning corners that led to more corners, more identical walls, more flickering lights. I wasn't in my building anymore. I was somewhere else, somewhere that felt familiar in a way that made my stomach twist. I walked for what felt like hours. Eventually, I found a door. Plain, wooden, unremarkable. The same door from my dreams. I reached for the handle. The moment my fingers touched it, I woke up, in my bed, breathing hard. The apartment was silent, but the door to the new room, the one with the chair, was open. And the chair was facing me. I don't know how long I've been here now. Days blur together. Nights stretch on endlessly. The apartment changes every time I blink. Sometimes the walls breathe. Sometimes the floor ripples. Sometimes the ceiling lowers until I can barely stand. I've stopped trying to leave. There's nowhere to go. The world outside the apartment isn't real anymore. Or maybe it never was. The tapping has returned. Soft, steady, patient. It's coming from the new room. The chair is waiting. The door from my dreams is waiting. The world is waiting for me to understand, for me to open something, for me to step through. The tapping grows louder. The walls pulse. The lights flicker. I think the room wants me now. I think the world is rearranging itself into the shape it needs me to see. I think someone is standing in the doorway. Not a person, not a shadow. A silhouette. Still, silent. Watching. The tapping stops. The whisper returns. Now. And I finally understand. The world isn't changing. It's correcting. This has been Briargrave Radio. If tonight's story stayed with you, subscribe before the next signal comes through. And remember, not every place wants to be found.